everybody, it's the Gregarious Giggler here, and today I'm coming to you to talk about transgenders for the last time, I hope.
Plucked her eyebrows on the way, shaved her legs, and then he was a she. She says, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey honey, take a walk on...
Okay everybody, we've made it this far. The last installment of my Transgender Truths series. I know it's been a long road, and I appreciate you all sticking with me. I'm gonna wrap it all up today, but also touch on the most important aspects of this topic in this last video, because, well, they're worth chewing on before I end things. I want to go back to where I started off in the first video, which is in regards to the kids. Let's check this video out real quick. Okay, I've heard this before in other documentaries too, where the little boy wants to cut off his genitalia. Yeah, that's a pretty good indication that your kid is messed up in the head. It really doesn't matter if he wants to cut his penis or his throat. It's never a good sign when they want to cut any part of their body. And I would say it's particularly strange and abnormal for a child that young to want to do that. You might want to send him to a therapist, not a gender specialist either, instead of sending him to a summer camp where it's just gonna condone his crazy. And there you go. It's all up to the kids. The kids know best, right? Well, what about these kids? Make sure you pay attention to the advisement before the video starts, okay?
Why is there a boy right there? And why are they dancing?
Wait a second. Okay, so there's a guy getting proposed to, so...
I love you more than anything in this entire world.
A guy proposing to a guy? Are they gay?
Will you marry me?
Marry who? You mean a boy marrying a boy? This is crazy. How does a guy marry a guy? So they're gay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Is it another marriage proposal?
A girl marrying a girl? Hi. Is that a girl? How does a girl propose to a girl and how does a guy propose to a guy? Are they gay too? Boy and a boy together and a girl and a girl. There's a guy proposing to a guy. That's just crazy. And then there was a girl proposing to a girl. That's just crazy.
How did the videos make you feel?
I'm sad. Gay is bad for you.
Why do you think that is bad?
Because I don't know.
Do you know what being gay means?
No. A boy likes a boy and a girl likes a girl.
It means that they like someone of the same gender.
Does that mean they're gate?
No, not a gate.
Or a Golden Gay Bridge? I just don't know where the name comes from.
The word actually comes from the word that means happy.
If I would have got a box of microscopes, would I be gay?
Well, because you're happy?
Yeah.
Why is it that some people like the opposite gender while some people like the same gender?
I don't know. Well, it's the same. My best friend is a boy, not a girl. I just don't know. I want you to this. You're hanging out with a guy for the rest of your life. All you're gonna know is guy things. You go to a fancy restaurant, you're just gonna be burping the whole time.
Some people say that people choose to be gay, and it's something that can be corrected or fixed.
Yeah, it could be possible, actually.
So So I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and guess that the people who made this video, who think that little children don't know what the heck they're talking about when it comes to same-sex marriage, are probably of the same mindset. Children do know what the heck they're talking about when it comes to their own gender identity. You can't have it both ways, folks. Either they're too young and underdeveloped to know homosexuality is right or wrong, and the same would go for being transgender. Do you really know who you are at the age of 2? Or do they know all? Well, let's just keep watching. Oh my God, seriously? That's what you thought was strange? That was the sign that started leading you down the path to thinking he was in the wrong body? God help me. I used to catch frogs in the mud and ponds and take them home and collect them in the garage when I was a child. But thank God my parents were normal and knew that that did not mean I was a boy, because I'm definitely not. The vagina gave the whole thing away, because my parents aren't idiots! After a few months? Oh, if this wasn't so sad, it would be so funny. Because a little boy at the age of 2 liked sequins and the color pink. He's not just a child that's attracted to sparkly things. He's not even gay anymore. He's most certainly transgender. They were certain now that he was a girl. Wait, back up. What was that now? Gender variant? What's that? Gender variance, or gender nonconformity, is behavior or gender expression by an individual that does not match masculine and feminine gender norms. Just whatever. Who can keep all of this crap straight? I feel like some college arts professor didn't have anything better to do with his time and just made all of this up as a guideline for the rest of the normal thinking world now has to adopt into their vocabulary and memory bank. Now, I know this is going to be a controversial thing to say, but just kidding. Everything I say is controversial. That perhaps not with every transgender child's parent or parents, but at least with some, maybe they want their kid to be the opposite sex. I mean, seriously, at the age of 2, if what the documentary is suggesting is true, the reason their son was a girl is because he liked pink, then I would say that's just a pretty good excuse that you're looking for reasons or excuses to dress him up in girls' clothes. And the specialist who gave the parents the go-ahead to put their child on medication and to inject their kids with is a lapdog for Satan, as far as I'm concerned, out to make money and nothing more. But I digress. Straight out of the horse's mouth.
Miss, unless you guys like to be called Miss.
Why don't you call me Mister?
If this kid can't even figure out what this person was, how the hell are we supposed to know what to call him or her? Even the kid who claims they're transgender doesn't know if it's a boy or a girl or an it. What does that tell you? And there you go. That's it right there. The husband bows down to his wife and her interpretation of what's going on. The husband says he wouldn't wish this on anyone. The wife is horrified. How dare he say something like that? And then he tucks his tail in between his legs because men are no longer men today. But that's another subject for another vlog. That's a big part of this whole transgender sensation craze today though. The mothers, they push it on their husbands because women are emotional. Men are rational. I guarantee you the first time any of these fathers heard the notion of their child being transgender, their reaction was probably, he can't be a girl. He has a dick. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. And that sort of segues into another vlog for another time, which is how men have become the more submissive sex in the marriage, and that women are now the dominant sex. I don't really like to say gender, but I do for these transgender vlogs just to humor everybody out there so that they don't get confused. How screwed up will that kid be? No, your kid is already screwed up. And by the way, speaking of mothers who are really fathers, and fathers who are really mothers.
On the surface, the Bowsers may look like an ordinary family.
Do we have tomatoes?
There's mom, Bianca, age 32, dad, Nick, he's 27. And their two rambunctious toddlers, Kai, aged 3, and Pax, 17 months.
I got it!
All right, yay, Merry Christmas.
But in their wildest dreams, these two parents never imagined that they would get to enjoy this kind of ordinary. Because behind her long black hair and feminine figure, Bianca was born a boy named Jason. And despite his cropped hair and the whisper of a mustache, Nick was born a girl named Nicole.
We fit the basic definition of what a transgender person is, so...
Let me just show you a trick though, okay?
Our children do not see us as transgender people. We are mommy and daddy.
But don't go, Mommy and Daddy.
We'll be right back.
Bianca, a performer at a local club, was getting ready for her act when one night Nick walked in.
He caught my eye, and our bartender friend, I asked her if she knew who he was, and she said yeah. And I said, well, just let him know I think he's cute.
And Bianca walked up to me and said who she was.
How quickly did the two of you fall in love?
It was pretty instant for me.
They dated for a year. And marriage, a small ceremony in Georgia, the first dance, and a first step to their life together. One in which their most intimate moments require literally reverting to the sexual identities with which they were born, but now reject.
People want to know how we have sex. I'm like, well, how do you have sex?
The same way you have sex.
Same way.
Right.
It works all the same way.
In essence, when you are having sex, you're having sex with a man.
I don't view Bianca as a man, regardless of what she might have. For me in my head, that's not what I see. It's not how I feel.
But let's get back to our documentary. That's roughly 14,000 American dollars. That's a lot of money to F up your kid. Well, I like to research. I'm a researching fool. And here is a breakdown of what the magic medicine is. First of all, hormone blockers are just what they sound to be. It is something to prevent you from going through puberty. But what is in this special drug? Leuprolin, which I cannot pronounce to save my life, which is a manufactured version of a hormone. Like with all medications, there are side effects. This one has the normal stuff. Headaches, hot flashes, trouble sleeping. But then there's another one that just seems a little bit more noteworthy. It can cause pituitary apoplexy, or otherwise known as pituitary tumor apoplexy, which is bleeding into or impaired blood supply of the pituitary gland at the base of the brain. Fun! I'd want to risk that kind of a side effect on my child. For sure. And if you want to know what else Wikipedia has to say about puberty blockers, the primary risks of pubertal suppression in gender dysphoric youth treated with GnRH agonists include adverse effects on bone mineralization, compromised fertility, and unknown effects on brain development. Perfect! So we want to give someone who already has a mental condition with a mental disorder more possible problems with their brain. Genius. Letting your child be who they are, then let them be male. That's who they are. The more I watch this stuff, the more I can't help but think that, yeah, wearing makeup, dressing up, acting however these kids feel like they are, is all fine and well for the time being. Up until the point where it's not all fun and games anymore. They're going to end up going to thousands of doctor's appointments, quite possibly for the rest of their lives, see psychologists, have operations, take medication the rest of their lives, and never fully accept, understand, or love their bodies. What kind of a life are their parents nudging them into?
Being an ally means that you know it takes many colors to make a rainbow. Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing up, some girls like catching snakes.
I think it's important to learn Soji language to better support the youth.
At the beginning of class, I say to all my students, I say, okay, when we do names today, I'm still getting to know you. Can you tell the rest of the class what pronouns you use? Does everyone know what I mean when I say pronouns? And almost in like unison, they all kind of like roll their eyes back in their head and go, yes, we know what pronouns are, we get it, we totally understand. And I go, oh, okay. So I'll start off, my name is Mr. Adrian, and I use him and he pronouns. We go around, and without even skipping a beat, the students had no problem.
When you ask someone their pronouns and they tell you, they're giving you a little bit of insight into who they are. They're sharing something with you, and it's really important to listen.
Wow. This is gonna be a really interesting video.
For people who think that it's too hard to use they as a singular pronoun, it's really important just to practice. Often for people when they're thinking about gender, there's fluidity, there's multiplicity, so sometimes they really is the right fit for the person. Intersecting identities means that people don't move around the world with one singular identity.
The concept of intersecting identities is really beautiful. Me being gay, an immigrant, and a person of color, and I can't choose one being more important than the other part of my identity.
A lot of these things intersect and really layer in terms of the discrimination that a youth may be facing, the stereotyping a youth may be facing, and if we know the full picture, we're better able to assess what this student might need in order to uplift them in the classroom.
This is what we're teaching kids now? Instead of, something like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
And so what I want to kind of put out there, and I think Sarah will be talking about this quite a bit, is that these lessons can't be seen in isolation. So it's, I think, a great starting point to use a book in the classroom to talk about gender identity, to talk about sexual orientation. But if we're restricting it to one little part of the day for students, it's not changing the culture of the classroom. It's not changing the language that we use in the classroom, for example, using boys and girls, which is, as we know, very pervasive. Every time that you say boys and girls, you are putting the students back into those boxes, back into that binary.
Putting them back into the binary? Are you kidding me? What should we refer to them as instead? Little small non-gender people, grab your books and take a seat.
Even something as simple as in a math problem, saying Tom and his two dads went to go buy apples.
Excuse me? Maybe Tom is non-binary. You just effed up your whole point. Shouldn't you have said Tom and their two dads? Morons.
It's crazy, but our students are inundated with that. When they go into a toy store or a clothing store or a bookstore or anywhere. Boys' books, girls' books, boys' stickers. It's ridiculous, right? So they have to know, like, as our job is, they have to think critically about that. They have to think, is this okay? Why do girls have separate Lego? That's dumb. Why is all the girl Lego like this? They have to be questioning this.
I agree. Kids should always be asking questions. Kids should always be questioning. They should question you, for example, and your authority to teach and lead impressionable minds into the future.
Gender-biased or homophobic language is not okay, including the phrase, "that's so gay."
Oh my god, this video is so gay.
So I know Soji terminology can seem a bit complex when you're just starting and learning about these issues for the first time. There's a few things that I always say. First of all, it's important to learn the basics. So language changes from person to person sometimes, but there's some terms that kind of apply across the board. I always like to start at the beginning, which is when a baby is born, often we look down at their genitals and we decide based on that whether that child is going to be a boy or a girl, right? So we assign that child a gender.
Yes, that's how we decide if that baby is a boy or a girl. Not that they're going to be. And yes, you imbecile, that's the only way you can identify if the baby is male or female.
Okay, do we have any pregnant women in our audience today? Oh, well, okay. What is your name?
Courtney.
Hi, Courtney. Who are you here with?
My fiance, Travis.
Oh, hi,
Hi, Ellen.
Okay. How far along are you?
6.5 months, 7 months next week.
Oh, boy. Are you having a boy or a girl?
We don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Good. These videos we're going to watch are all gender reveals.
What the fuck?
What the hell did you just say?
Looks like your own clan is saying the same thing as the rest of the normal world. Y'all should have a meeting. But that's enough of all of that. What's most important to understand, I think, is why all of this is going on in our society today. And why, in my opinion, which might be similar to others, is important. While a lot of you may not believe in God, and that's okay, because God gave us free will, choose to believe in Him or not, this is totally a God issue. People have been rebelling against God since the beginning of time. God said, don't eat from that tree, and then what did they do? They ate from that tree. The adversary to God is Satan. You may have heard of him. And Satan's deeds are loved by non-believers all around the world, whether they realize they're Satan's deeds or not. They still love them. Who doesn't love to sin? I know I do. We all sin. So this is not to suggest that any one of us is above the rest. This is merely to point out that sin is in our nature, and that is why we need a savior to save us from our sins. But moving on. Transgenderism is not something that God advocates. Firstly, God does not make mistakes. That's how He got to be God. So if you believe that the Bible is the Word of God, then you believe everything that is written in it. God is very clear when He said He created Adam and Eve. There was no third party spoken of. There was no non-binary character that He forgot to mention. Because again, God doesn't make mistakes. So, if you do believe in God, then you must believe that God made you in the body that you are in for a specific reason. He gave you your body as a gift, and we should all respect our individual gifts that He's given us, instead of protesting that we have been created wrong. Now, if you don't believe in God, then there's a much different argument for why transgenderism is still wrong. If you believe in nature, but not in God, then there is no certainty in anything. There is no order to anything, and we are all just an accident, including this place that we call the universe. If there is no God, then it's the perfect excuse to violate your body, to scream at nature and say that it has made a mistake. But if everything's an accident, then how can there be any mistakes? To make a mistake would be to suggest that there is some sort of order. And if there is no intelligent design behind said order, which there is none of, if there is no intelligent design behind it, then there cannot be mistakes in effect. Essentially, it would seem rather odd actually that if there is no God, that we have then no certain pattern in humanity, which for example would mean the same amount of male chromosomes as the same amount of female chromosomes to create a life. If there were accidents, so to speak, then why can't homosexual couples create a baby naturally? If there are accidents, then why can't a biological male grow a uterus?
Life finds a way.
In all honesty, it seems like there's a lot more evidence, even as a layman, to suggest that there is a God rather than not. Sin exists in this world, and the devil is the conductor of it all. 1 Peter 5:8 says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy the devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." Ephesians 6:12 says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." There is hardly anything more unnatural and rebellious that I can think of toward our Creator than to suggest that A, He made a mistake, and then to B, play God ourselves and fix the problem by surgically changing our bodies to fit our delusional and at its core evil ideas about ourselves.
Because we held the truth, but we held it in unrighteousness, because we knew God and rejected Him as God, because we became wise in our own conceits, we have begun to experience the wrath of God. That wrath came when God let us go into a sexual revolution and a homosexual revolution. And third comes toward the end of Romans 1, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. Reprobate is simply the word non-functioning. God gave the society over to a mind that doesn't work, to a kind of insanity. And you might have wondered 5 years ago, what will that insanity be? How about this? You're a man, but you call yourself a girl. Or you're a girl, but you call yourself a man. Or you've decided gender is fluid and you can be anything you want, any day you want to be that. That is insanity. That is a mind that doesn't function. That is the result of the wrath of God. First, there'll be a sexual revolution, then a homosexual revolution, and then a reprobate mind where people don't even think straight, and they are making laws that uphold that kind of insanity. All of that speaks to the issue that this nation and this Western culture is under the wrath of God.
And even if we put aside the science of it all, even if we put aside God, if we take away all of that and simply leave the people that love and care about us, where does this decision to alter your body and personhood leave them? Here is what transgenderism does to more families than not, I would imagine.
Nice to meet you. Let's sit right here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now, Gary.
I'm hurt bad. Really bad.
What do you have to say?
Why?
there's a part of me that wants to make light of this clip. Say that that is clearly a man in drag, but instead it just makes me sad. That clip to me says so much. And with that, I will leave you all for now. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you've enjoyed my Transgender Truths series. Stay tuned for my next series, which is to come shortly. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, please still give it a thumbs up. Be a lover, not a hater. Make sure to subscribe to this channel here on YouTube, The Gregarious Giggler, and if you haven't already, make sure to check out, subscribe, and follow my blog series entitled Why You Don't Have a Girlfriend and Why as a Result I Don't Have a Boyfriend, which you can find at thegregariousgiggler.blogspot.com. Thanks everybody and have a great day. Ciao!
There's this insane story that has now come out about an entire transgender family. It's a local news station in Arizona. They've run a glowing piece on a family that is in transition, as in the whole family. So you've got Daniel Herrett, the father of the family, a 41-year-old biological female who identifies as a man. And then there's Daniel's daughter, Mason, an 11-year-old biological female who now identifies as a boy. And his son, Josh, a 13-year-old biological male who identifies as a girl. Okay, Herrett's fiance is also transgender. Shirley Austin is a biological male.
Well, isn't that special?
Holly came from Miami, FLA. Hitchhiked away across USA. Plucked her eyebrows on the way. Shaved her legs and then he was a she. She says, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey honey, take a walk on the wild side.